Hello Internet, your friendly neighborhood gremlin here, and today we're doing a Jack and the Beanstalk inspired build. I would like to apologize for there not being a video on Sunday. It was just kind of an inconvenient weekend and I'm mentally unwell. But I did make a Twitter account, and while I'm probably not going to be able to use Twitter the way regular people use Twitter because me and social media fail real hard, but I will post there either when I have a new video or if something has gone wrong and there's not going to be a new video or it's going to be late. It's not like you need to follow me or whatever, but if you're curious about what's going on, you can check the Twitter. So Jack and the Beanstalk. Objectively, the last video didn't really perform very well, and I probably shouldn't be telling you another story, but I would like to tell you the story of Jack and the Beanstalk, and that's about all I have the emotional energy for today. It is a fairly short tale, so I think we'll manage to get through two, as in I'm going to tell you the story one way, and then I guess we'll just discuss what's different with the other one, because it's pretty much the same tale. That's how these things work. So we begin our tale with a poor widow and her son. They're really not doing well. The harvest has been really bad and that sort of thing, and they're going to starve. I do wonder how many tales have starvation as their inciting incident. I guess they had that big famine in Germany, which is how we get to Hansel and Gretel. So maybe similar time period, or maybe people in the olden times just starved a lot. Probably be pretty easy if you had to grow all your own crops and stuff. One bad harvest and you'd be fucked. But she sends her young boy to the market with a cow to sell. Now, I feel like he reads pretty young at the beginning of the tale, but then also he carries all these giant things down a beanstalk. I do not know how old Jack is supposed to be. Maybe he's just not very bright. Though I suppose realistically that doesn't really matter in the tale. So as he's headed to market, he runs into a man who is actually sometimes a butcher, which makes more sense as to why this man wanted a cow. But he's not always a butcher. Sometimes he's just a guy, probably shady as fuck. And our man offers Jack 5 magic beans for his cow. And Jack somehow believes they are magic beans. I mean, I guess really they are magic beans, so I don't know if it's a dumb choice or not. But when he gets home, his mother sure thinks it's a dumb choice, and so she chucks the beans out the window and sends Jack to bed without dinner. But what our boy sees when he wakes in the morning is a giant beanstalk, and so that boy climbs that beanstalk. Why, I don't know. And at the top of the beanstalk, Jack finds a castle, and so he goes to the door, and who should open it but a big, tall, terrible lady giant. And she pretty much just says, "Shoo, little boy. If my husband comes, he's gonna eat you." And he's all like, "Please, Mom, I haven't had anything to eat since yesterday. Could you give me a little bit of breakfast?" So Jack tucks into breakfast, and in the middle of it, the castle starts to shake and tremble. And the lady giant is all, "Oh shit, that's my husband." So she shoves Jack in the oven, which would be suspicious. But I know it's not because she doesn't actually cook him. But if it were me, instead of Jack, I would be panicking at this point. He seems pretty chill. So she shuts the door of the oven and in walks her husband, singing a lovely little tune. Or I guess chanting a chant, probably. I don't know that he's singing. Well, whatever he's doing, it sounds a little bit like this. Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread. Which, is intimidating. But our lady giant just denies it and says her husband must be mistaken. And then she serves him breakfast. And after he's done, he goes and grabs some bags of money and starts counting them, and then falls asleep in the middle of doing that. Not really sure how that happens, but whatever. Jack sneaks out of the oven and he takes that gold. I mean, to be fair, he is going to starve. So I do kind of understand this one. And Jack drops the bag of money down the hole of the beanstalk and follows it down himself. And him and his mother are excited and happy, and they live that way for a while. And then Jack gets greedy. And so he climbs the beanstalk, and there he meets the giant. And she's all like, "You probably should not be here. And also, the last time you were here, a whole bag of money just sort of disappeared. Just kind of sus." And then Jack is all like, "I can't tell you anything until I eat." And she wants to know what the fuck it is he's gonna say. So she brings him in to eat. But just as he starts having breakfast, here comes that man of hers again. She chucks Jack in the oven, and it goes about as it did before, which is actually how the tale does it. It doesn't repeat the rhyme again. Anyway, this time he brings out a goose that lays golden eggs, and he says lay, and out comes a golden egg, and then the giant falls asleep, because apparently this man cannot stay awake after a meal. And you best believe Jack takes that hen, and he goes running. But apparently there's something wrong with this child, because he decides he's going up that beanstalk again. Which, I mean, you've got a goose that lays golden eggs. You're not going to run out of money, dude. Anyway, this time he goes up there and he doesn't approach the door because he knows that the giants are suspicious. So he waits until she leaves to go get water. And then he sneaks in the house and he hides in the copper. I don't know what that is, but that's what the story says, and that's what we're going with. And down comes our giant. And he says, fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. I smell him, wife. I smell him. And she says, well, if it's that boy that keeps stealing from us, he's probably in the oven. So they go and check the oven. And it is empty. And his wife replies, it must just be the child you caught last night that we're cooking for breakfast. This time after breakfast, our giant brings out a golden harp, and he says sing, and the golden harp plays. And this lulls our giant to sleep. And there comes Jack, and he grabs that harp, and he starts running. But the harp cries out, and she wakes the giant, and the giant sees Jack stealing that harp, and he goes running right after him. But Jack reaches the bottom of the beanstalk before the giant is very far down, and he hacks that sucker, and it collapses, and down with it goes the giant, and he was not surviving that fall. So happily ever after. And we don't really have time to go over the next one. I suppose the most important change is that the giant killed Jack's father and stole the castle. So, like, technically he's not stealing, but reclaiming what was his. And after the giant dies, they go take that castle back, and Jack's supposed to kill the giantess, but instead she falls down the stairs and breaks her neck. So he avoids having to do that, and then happily ever after. But given that we are nearly at the end of the video, I imagine you're looking at this build and thinking, that is nowhere near done. And you'd be right, but I'm gonna do all the terraforming and stuff off camera, because trying to do that on camera was just a little bit too stressful for me. I am really sorry about that, but I will show you what it looks like on Thursday. Do not promise that I'll have the path and the water stuff figured out, but it will be like a finished build, at least. But if you liked the video or just had a good time hanging out with me, you could hit that like button and leave me a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on the build, Jack and the Beanstalk shit, literally anything at all. And of course, if you think you might like to do this again sometime, you could hit that subscribe button. And I will see y'all on Thursday. Goodbye!